Welcome everybody, Shir number 940. We're learning today Le'iloi Nishmas Moshe Dov Ben Rabbi Zisel, Le'iloi Nishmas Blima Bas Ramoshe, and Le'Refuah Shalema Noach Yosef Ben Chaya Gittel Shtaka Refuah Shalema B'Sech Shachol Yisrael. Getting back to our malacha of MAKEH B'PATISH. Okay, so we are in middle of talking about the various different gezeros midrabanan. Rabbinical decrees, if you want to call it, in reference to MAKEH B'PATISH and Tikemana, whereby Chazal were afraid either the one might come to fix something or it's something that looks like a new item, like we spoke about, in reference to perfuming and so on, and therefore Chazal said it was also to do. So we started last year talking about the Isser of swimming on Shabbos, and not so much the exercise part of it, but that's a separate issue which we have to talk about, exercise in general, how that works, but the actual swimming itself. And there was a gezerah that Chazal were afraid. We mentioned that one might come to make this sort of a barrel like a life preserver type of a thing, which they used to have. Today we have regular life preservers. In those days they used to have a handmade type of life preserver. We explained from the Sefer Lamites Belachis, Chazal were afraid that either one will make it, but in general, if it breaks, one might come to fix it. In middle of the swimming, you do a quick fix-up job, and that would be even somebody does it real quickly. You don't need any mechanics. You don't have to bring it anywhere to do any professional jobs with tools or whatever. It's a quick type of a thing, and people knew how to do it. They could come to fix it very easily, and thereby being over MAKEH B'PATISH Tikemana. Okay, so now the question is, what exactly do we call swimming? Number one, just to explain from the Sefer Eitzer Halacha, like this. He says, Ein Shat M'Shabbos Al Pnei Hamayim, that as far as the Ein Shatim B'Shabbos Al Pnei Hamayim, you can't go swimming on water. So what do we mean by, what exactly does that mean? So he says, interesting, he brings from the Sefer Ksais HaShulchan, the Hainu Sha'oika Raglov Min HaKarka. It to be whereby one is picking up their feet from the ground, meaning just, standing in a pool of water. It's not what we're talking about. We're talking about mamish, they pick up their body and they swim. So what's the gezer? The gezer is shemiyasa chavis shel shayatin. That one might come to make, like we said, this life preserver. So then, getting back to the Shulchan Aruch, I just wanted to explain that part because of the fact that we know what swimming is. It's a regular swimming whereby they pick up their body in the pool. So says the Shulchan Aruch, what are the guidelines? Again, it's in Siman Shin Lamed Tes. We've been working from Shin Lamed Ches, and Shin Lamed Tes is in Siman Shin Lamed Tes Sif Beis. And so now the question is, where do we draw the guidelines in reference to swimming? Could I go in a mikveh? Could I go in a swimming pool? What's the deal? So he says like this: Afilu b'breichat ein shayat, says the mechaber in Sif Beis, right? Ein shatin al pnei hamayim. Afilu b'breichat shebachatzer. Even in a pool, and the person has a pool in the yard, even over there, don't go in. Okay, because of the fact that even a person has their pool in the yard or so on, it's when you go in and you start swimming, it's going to the water gets uprooted and goes outside of the pool. It's very similar to a river type of a swimming, and thereby we're afraid one might come to make this man-made life preserver, or fix the life preserver. So is there a time that it's allowed halachically? And then we wanted lamaisa. So it says the Shulchan Aruch, the Mechaber says further, im yesh lo sofa seviv, then it's mutter. If there's some sort of a boundary around, a little bit of a wall, a little bit of a boundary around it, so it has like this boundary, this lip, like a swim. A lot of swimming pools have a little wall, a little lip around it, a little in the edges. It comes out all around. So if that's the case, says the Shulchan Aruch, then it would be mutter. Again, halacha l'maisa speaking, but we have to see what's the bottom line. Now, how high? First of all, let's take it step by step. How high does this little wall going around the pool have to be? If somebody has such a pool. So establishing one fact, if it's straight up and it's like a pool whereby there's no little wall, little lip coming up around it, that's asa for sure, because the Shulchan Aruch says it's similar to a river. So tells us the Sefer Eitzer also halachas that is a swimming pool. He says somebody goes swimming in a swimming pool. V'shar kelim sheyesh lahem safa, this type of little wall going all the way around, this little type of border going all the way around. It's like a little wall that goes all around. Called sad. It has to be. He brings that down. It has to be all around. Brings it from the Mishnah Berurah. Actually, it has to be all around, not just like on one side. So then he says l'chayra mutter me'ikar halacha. The mikra the dina, such a swimming pool would be mutter. So he brings the Shulchan Aruch l'maisa she'ein derech la'asais chavis loshet ba b'kli, in this type of swimming pool whereby it has this little type of lip going all the way around. V'chein ein locha sheyatza mayim mitaycha. We're not afraid like the water goes out. Because the water comes back in, even if it hits the wall, and therefore it's not similar to a river. We're not afraid one might come to fix these type of life preservers, or they might not even need it. That's what he says. It has to be v'tzarich sheyiyah asafa gavaya min hakarka gimel tfachim, though. The height has to be at least gimel tfachim sviv habrecha, around the pool. In other words, if you have like half an inch of a border all around, that's not going to help you. It has to be at least 3 tfachim high. He brings. And by the way, in the bottom he brings it from the Gemara Erevin, and from the Ksei Shulchan. Okay, but be it as it may, bottom line is, we'll see today it's not so negay anyways, but just to establish the halacha, once you have this thing, this wall going around, at least 3 tefachim high, ikadadina, there would be mutter. V'recha swimming pool, he says, v'chem mikvois shalanu, but the problem is our swimming pools he brings down, and also our mikvahs, then somebody goes to mikvah, ein lahem safa saviv. You don't have this wall, or at least for 3 tefachim high, for sure you don't have. In general, a mikvah doesn't have a 3 tefachim high wall coming out up over the top of the mikvah, up over a swimming pool, or so on. So Bichlal Valkain is also lasud. Valkain is also lasud behem. So one would not be allowed to swim in these type of swimming pools, because in Lamaisa they don't have this little wall, and also even in a mikveh, somebody wants to go swimming, for example, per se in a mikveh, also one would not be allowed to, because again you don't have this wall. Now, so what's the bottom line? How do we work this lamaisa? But lamaisa brings down, and also sefer lam tes malach lamaisa also the minig bechlal is that. Right, this Pashat HaMinig Shalai says on the bottom, this Pashat HaMinig Shalai Luchas B'tzoyin Klal. In general, on Shabbos we don't wash. The minig is wash even in cold. Of course, in hot we don't wash on Shabbos, but even in cold water we don't wash. So he says, Lamaisa the minig is lesser rechitzas kol gufa, not to what one is not to be washing their entire body. Afilu b'tzoyin, even in cold. So he says, "Valkein ein shatim b'Shabbos b'cholin in shehu." So the bottom line is, even in cold water, our minig is that we don't wash even in cold water. So therefore, one has to be careful not to go even in cold water, even if they have in the swimming pool cold water, and it's a little wall going all the way around. Vafilu misha halach. So he says, does the sefer Yisrael halachas? Vafilu misha halach l'tabel b'Shabbos. Even if somebody goes to the mikvah on Shabbos, tabel b'Shabbos b'breichas maim, and let's say they're going to go in a breichas maim in Shikaran swimming pool. They're going to go somehow a kosher mikveh, that's a swimming pool, however that is, and it's cold water, for example. So in such a case, the regular case, which we know of, somebody goes taka in regular mikveh that we have, since you don't have this wall around it, and bechlal, it's only there for toiveling. So he says, bottom line is, asur loy loshad sham. So therefore, one is not allowed to go swimming in basically in any body of water, even if they go in the mikveh. Avol etzem atfila, but to go the regular tefillah is mutter. In general, the regular tefillah in the mikveh, that is okay. That's not swimming. The regular tefillah is okay. Afila b'mikveh she'ein sham safa. Even he ends off, and the point is, even if it's a mikveh, which in general it is, most mikvehs, they don't have the wall going all the way around. A person might say, well, how could I go into the mikveh because there's no wall going all the way around, or there comes out 3 tefachim. But the bottom line is that to do a tefillah in a mikveh, that's okay. It's the swimming that's not allowed to be done. Picking up one's feet and start going swimming, that you can't do. But regular tefillah in a mikveh, that is okay. So the bottom line is, in general, swimming in all situations is asur, but going to regular tefillah is okay. We'll finish off next time a few more details here and there. What about in reference to the Sefer Lam Tes Malachas brings down floating items? Let's say one is in a boat, right? Toys, logs, these type of things. But we'll try and talk a little bit about that next year and finish off the subject. Thank you for listening. Aslach and bracha kol tuv.